Hopefully my connection stays well. I don't know. I have like a feeling that it won't do well this time. Here we go with the shaking thing. The shaking. Okay. Have an energy update. I have some things that I've been picking up on. I just need a moment to like settle into the energy and make sure everything is closed. Okay. Oh my God. The shaking. Bane of my existence. Oh, maybe I should like go out and come back on. What do you think, Spirit? No? Okay. I'll just talk then. Okay. Okay. So I've been picking up many things, and another message just came in when I just did the little pause about the dragons. The dragons have returned is the message I got. Obviously, House of Dragons just came back out. And it's so interesting because I'm in China, and China is like big on the dragons. And then like this is season 2 of the House of Dragons. Yes. So like one of the messages that I guess I got with that was like they call the war the dance of the dragons, and Spirit was saying like what if like what's coming ahead, what if it isn't a war? It's like always these themes and things like something's coming and it means that there's something bad coming, but what if it's not something bad? What if it's something good that's coming in? You know what I mean? And that's what I feel. And I felt like it's appropriate to call it the dance of the dragons because it's not fighting, it's a dance, it's joyful, it's a balancing. I also want to like thank my friend. I don't know if she'll ever watch this, but I'll tell her anyways. Thank you so much because I feel like she's like helped me to like be pushed in this direction. And number 27 is like one that's like been coming up a lot. I saw these, but I'm also feeling these. So at the end of my previous live video, oof, hold on. Where is the remote? 1 second. Why can't I never find a remote? Where are you, remote? Remote? Oh my God. Oh. Is it gonna work? I'm back. Okay, so I have a lot to say. I have so many things to say. One of the things, so at the end of my last reading, my last big card reading, I said there was a channel message from Spirit and it was like, it will evolve. Then I just got the message about the difference between revolution and evolution. If you don't know me, I'm a bit of a nerd. And I know some things. I have a really good memory when it comes to very specific things, but I do remember this from my science class was the difference between a revolution and evolution when it comes to planetary bodies, so planets and stuff like that. A revolution is a spin. So for example, I'll show you with the water bottle. A spin, so this is Earth, and a spin like this in place. That's a revolution. That's a revolving. Evolution is the movement of the planet as it spins. Yes? This is where it gets interesting. Because while a revolution is the same, it's the same way every time. You can't make a difference in this. The only thing you could change is like, I guess, the pace of it, like if it's faster or so. You could also change the axial tilt of it, but it's always going to be the same revolve. You can't change that. But in evolution, it changes often. I think often, basically the pattern that it takes around the sun is not the exact same pattern every time as it moves around. And that's what Spirit was saying. An evolution, although it travels a similar pattern, it's still circular, it is not the same as last time. And you kind of see this in this show, The Three Body Problem, to like kind of give you imagery how to conceptualize this. The Three Body Problem, I think a lot of people saw that on Netflix. But basically there was this planet and it had trouble because there were three different suns that the planet had, and it kept the evolution of it, again, how it travels around the sun, it kept being picked up by the gravitational pull of other suns, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, could be other planetary bodies, but I think it was three suns. It kept being picked up by the gravitational pull, and so it would always be destroyed or something like that. And they kept trying to fix it or whatever, but they couldn't because it's too strong. You can't fix it. All you can do is relocate. Spirit is saying evolution is here. It will be similar, but it won't be the same. It will return, but it will return differently. I saw this in terms of like the divine masculine, divine feminine energies. I saw this in Bridgerton season 3. At the end, when Colin Bridgerton, he returned from his trip, and he wasn't the same, and he was jealous of his wife Penelope. And he told her at the end, like, I was jealous of you instead of supporting you. And it's like the return of the divine masculine, but he, as in the energy, not the gender, he is not the same as he was, but he has returned. Yes? It's like all these things connect. Okay, hopefully now it'll work because I put on the Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi it ain't always guaranteed. The issue is, the reason I have so many issues is because I have to use a VPN, and my VPN will conflict a lot with the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi is local, obviously. So there's always trouble. But just hopefully it'll work out. Anyways, yes. And so this kind of gets me into what I think initially inspired me coming on this live, which is like interference. And I don't really like to talk about it in this way because it can be very disempowering when you use certain words. But I do think that there's a lot of empowerment coming in. So I will talk about it. Interference. I feel like Spirit wants me to say, or what Spirit is trying to convey with this whole thing about evolution versus revolution, and the returning of the divine masculine as in a similar pattern, as the same energy but not the same. I feel like they're basically saying, for one, you won't know until it's happened, and for two, like, it's already like it's happening. Things are further along in terms of progress than is like apparent. I guess now this could also like lead me into something else. So I did an activation with Ramona Lapin. I'll say a lot of the things that she brings up, but in my own way because I'm just now getting them. And I also mentioned things Solora says a lot. SOL ORAH, I think. Solora speaks. She has like 3 different channels on YouTube, but I forgot I always spell her name wrong. I'll say a lot of things that they both say, but it's just now coming to me, and I'll say it in my own way. But basically, I did her activation because I felt guided to do that one, and my phone just stopped charging after that. It literally had to die, which my phone never does because I'm always very effective when charging. But my phone, it refused to charge, and then it died. And then Spirit was like, don't worry, because I started to panic. Spirit was like, don't worry, it'll come back. And as soon as I heard Spirit say that, my phone came back to life. And so that was something, because it was associated with this activation. And that's it's 2 different things. But it's the same thing. That's what Spirit was saying at the end of my pick a card. Like, it will evolve. Like, it'll evolve. As in, like, that old pattern that it usually takes will die. There will be no more of the old pattern. but it will come back again, just not in the same way that you expect. Am I making sense? Is it clicking in? Anyways, so I listened to the activation again. I listened to it twice this morning, and I had a vision in my mind. It was the sun, right? And I've only seen this once in my life, and I shared it on my stories, but basically, or maybe I still have the video. If I have the video, I'll try to find it and I'll like post it again. But basically, it was the rainbow, but it was the full rainbow. It was the whole circle of the rainbow. I saw it in real life in Texas. But in my mind, it was two of them. It was two rainbows. So it was the sun in the middle, and then it was a rainbow, and then there was another rainbow circle on the outside of it. And like, it was like I don't know, it like moved like a heartbeat, I guess. The second rainbow on the outside, like emphasis. And it was so interesting because I went on Ramona's stories before I started this video, and she had posted this picture or this reel of the sun and like this rainbow in the sky. It wasn't a full circle, but it was similar, and I was glad that she did that because it reminded me of something. And anybody who's been like watching my videos recently, I did bring up the rainbow symbolism recently. I feel like this also is leading me into something. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm like all over the place, but these are the messages that I've gotten, and they're all connected, but it might just sound like a lot. So after I watched The House of Dragons, I was pulled again to look into dinosaurs, because I remember I watched the most recent Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie with Chris Pratt, and I was like, this ain't how the dinosaurs looked. I was like, dinosaurs don't look like this. And I told my mama that, and she was like, no, I don't think so either. And so anyways, ever since then, I've just been like, dinosaurs don't look like this. And so yesterday, I was looking them up after House of Dragons, because, you know, I think dragons look like dinosaurs, or maybe dragons were the dinosaurs. But it was basically saying that they had feathers. And I remember that this made sense. Thank you so much, person. I remember that this made sense because I remember being in middle school. I think I was about 11 or 12 years old. No, I was 11. And I was at this computer and I researched something. And I remember finding out that the closest relatives to dinosaurs were chickens. And I remember I told everybody that, and I never forgot this fact. This is what I mean. I can remember very specific facts. I think we all can have these random little facts that we have. But basically it was saying that chickens were the closest relatives to T-Rexes. And when you think about that, of course it makes sense that they had feathers. And I'm like, well, why would they have feathers? Usually creatures with feathers have wings, right? 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 And so I was like, sounds like dragons to me, but I don't know. I just think that there is also something there. I don't like to get a lot into conspiracies and different things like that, because then you get lost. What's her name? Rebecca Troy. She coins the phrase down the rabbit hole. You don't want to get lost down the rabbit hole of getting into this and that and da 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 da. But I do think it's important, since it is coming up, because I learned in my little bit of research that I did about how dinosaurs actually looked, that they were a lot smaller than they are, like in movies and stuff. They weren't as big for the most part. I believe most of them weren't that big. They were just like giant rodents, is the way that I heard it described in the video. And that they were still just as vicious, but they weren't as giant. What else? I heard that also the T-Rex, instead of going up like this, like the T-Rex arms, that it was actually more like this, kind of like a crocodile, which I thought was very interesting as well. A crocodile or a alligator, because then you think about Florida and how it's like notorious for I think alligators. I think the crocodiles are in Africa and the alligators are in Florida. And then there's just also so much like there's so much, I don't know, bad energy around Florida. I don't like Florida. And then also Africa as well, which I think is interesting. As like I said, if you've been following my videos, I've said this many times, people never talk about like Africa in like the spiritual community. It's very like, I don't know, it's just, they don't talk about it. They always talk about Egypt, but I'm like, the fuck? Anyways, as I've come into more like I guess contact with African people here in China, which is interesting. You wouldn't think that was the case, but there are a lot of African people here. I've been able to pick up on a lot of like heavy, let's just say interference, definitely coming from that continent. And I'm like, whenever that, it's for a reason, which kind of like leads me into something else. I think I might come back to the dinosaurs and stuff like that, but for now I think I'm gonna keep moving. Yes, I think I'll keep moving. So this is something else. So I try to tell people this, and I feel like people don't like get, like they don't really get me. Like when I be trying to tell people this, but in my life, I have had a lot of isolation. I have had a lot of um, very little contact with people for like a continued amount of time. It's happened a lot. Like there were instances when I was like intentionally trying to like become intimate with people and become close with people, specifically divine masculines, there would always be something that would like cut it off. Like I've said this before, like their phone would break. I had people power outages when I've left their places where like their phone died, they couldn't talk. Like different things where I was not allowed. They had to move away. This has happened, I say specifically with divine masculines, but it's happened with divine feminines as well, where like anytime there was like a great chance of me to be like close to someone emotionally and physically, that was not my family member, it was always cut off. And it's happened again recently, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, it really was bothering me because someone told me like it's a pattern. Like, obviously you get told in the spiritual community, like people are like, if something is happening externally, it's probably a reflection of something internal, which yes, that's true. But I was just like, no, because I've done X, Y, and Z, and I know for sure that I don't have this pattern anymore where I'm attracting certain types of people. I know for sure. And so then it was clicking into my head things that Ramona Lappin says all the time that just go over my head, and it takes me several times to realize them. But she was basically saying that she calls them gray lines. Gray lines, I'm not really sure what that means, but basically just think like star seeds are very like powerful souls. She says that she believes that there are a lot of like interference, like a black magic pushed towards those people, and it attempts to isolate them and to gaslight them and hopefully encourage them to give up hope. They, like she was saying, that they want you to feel lonely, they want you to feel desperate, they want you to feel like there's something wrong with you, why people keep being repelled from you, why people keep thinking that you're these things. Like I've had a whole thing, or I've said before on here, where people have called me like arrogant and like I'm like this what's it called, like this manipulative like feminine person who like thinks she knows everything and is like only trying to like undermine them. It's like all these things, and it's like she was saying that those things are put in place so that you're constantly isolated and you're constantly like questioning yourself and feeling lonely and you don't have access to support. A lot of emphasis she says all the time on how the divine feminine, specifically the energy of the divine feminine, is often without support, and she gives up hope, or she becomes is it a wasp? She becomes the distorted feminine energy, because the manipulative one, because that's the only way, if she is not in her true self, that's the only way to garner the support that she so desperately needs. And I was like, oh shit, that's happening to me. So I just wanted to say, if you're watching this and you've I don't know what this comment means, but I'll take it into consideration because everything is something. Uh, if you're watching this and you've experienced something like this where you're like, you feel like you've always been like, I don't know, like forcefully isolated, forcefully like hermited, like you try to make connections. Like it could even be things where I've had like, as soon as you meet someone new who like you bond with or you have a good connection with, something happens in their lives that like they have to remove their attention from you. This does not have to be romantic, because for example, I had this friend that I met at the library, and I was so excited to like be friends with this person. And then I believe like the next week something really big happened in their family where it like devastated them, and they were no longer able to like continue like talking to me because it was just so overwhelming. You could say that these people are just like, I know, lying to get away with me, get away from me, but I'm like, for one, I'm pretty cool. And then for two, I can feel people's energy. Like energy don't lie. You know, words can lie and people can lie, but like the energy of something, like you can tell when someone is genuinely shooketh, if you know what I mean. And so with that being said, I want to make you aware of it first, because that's how you can like get rid of it. Now the air is blowing too much. Cool it. Calm down. Like acknowledging it is how you can take away the power from it. I would say with that, I feel like Spirit is saying, no more of that. I feel like no more of that. And if you've been picking up on like this pattern continuing, even though you know for a fact that you're no longer in the frequency that should be attracting these patterns, if you know for a fact that you've cleared this shit and it's still coming up, it's most likely interference, it's most likely black magic. And I want you to know that if this is happening to you, if you are being targeted in this way, people only gonna target something that's a threat. You feel me? You know what I mean? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You're only gonna target something that is a threat. So what does that mean? I'm like, I'm in a teacher mode. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? If you're a threat, that means that you're probably able to eliminate what is threatening you. And so I feel like this is an opportunity. If you're watching this and you feel guided to, this is an opportunity to take your power back fully, and to completely refuse and refute the black magic, to completely dismiss the negative influence, completely dismiss the interference that is trying to fuck with you, by simply refusing it, not accepting it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to be angry about it. It's okay to express yourself however you feel about this gaslighting and this manipulation. Go ahead and do it. But at the beginning and the end of that, make sure you come back to a space where you realize, I don't have to fucking worry about this, because you know what? I don't believe in it. It's like I'm no longer falling for this illusion. I don't believe in this anymore. And so it no longer exists. It's like, as long as you are like entertaining it and believing like the storyline of like that spell, then it'll impact you. But the moment that you stop like playing along with it, it can't do anything. Because like I said, it's only gonna, these beings or this energy is only going to target things that are a threat. If you are a threat, that means that you have the ability to eliminate that which seeks to threaten you. Does that make sense? Okay. I was picking up on an example that I was seeing in my mind. It's kind of like, let's just use this one, the second Spider-Man movie, when it was all those fucking little bots making it look like it was real. Like the little robot things would come in, the drones, and they would make all these projections, and it would look like Tom Holland's character was like, or Peter Parker was like somewhere that he wasn't. And it wasn't until he closed his eyes and like used his senses that he could feel where the drones were and that they were lying again. Because when he got rid of them, the person that was this huge threat was already wounded. He was on the ground about to die. And if he would have listened to the drones that was around him and projecting these images, then he would have been like, he would have assumed that Jake Gyllenhaal, I never not pronounced his name, Jake Gyllenhaal's character was like more powerful than he was, but he was already down and out. He was on his last fucking leg. And he would have known that if he had just listened to like the drones and what the drones were saying. That's what this is. This black magic. If you feel like black magic, people putting spells on you, people hitting on you, or like just there's this interference from demons, whatever you want to call it. I will repeat myself again. If you are being threatened, it is because you are a threat. If you are being threatened by something or someone that perceives you as a threat, it's because they already know that you have the ability to eliminate them. And therefore, they're being proactive, trying to stop you before you come to this conclusion. I am here to remind you and go ahead and bring you to this conclusion. You are more powerful. There is nothing more powerful than you. And you don't have to do all these crazy shits. You don't have to cast a spell back. You don't have to go and, I don't know, send a prayer to, I don't know, a church or something. Do whatever you want, but you don't have to lift a finger. It just takes a little quick shift in the brain and the consciousness, and like, I don't believe in this, so dismissed. That's it. That's all. For those of you who are Bridgerton fans like me, do we have a name? Bridgerton fans like me, it's like the queen when she comes into the room. She don't shout. Does she shout? No. She walks in. Stop the music. The music stops. Just simple as that. She don't have to make a decree. She don't have to sign a law. She don't have to have her officers arrest the people. She comes in, stop the music. That's it. Okay. Next, what do we have? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about dark and light, kind of like a segue again. A segue again. So dark and light, the moon and the sun. I have a whole video where I think it was in the silk cotton tree video that I did before I came here, where I talked about how I don't like the moon, and I don't like how people are always talking about the feminine is the moon. Yes, I like the idea of the feminine being the night, but I feel like what I want to get across even more with all of this, it's the same thing like I was just saying. It's nothing, like I said, that other people that I've mentioned at the beginning, Ramona, Solora even, maybe not so much Solora, but maybe even Rebecca Choi. Anyways, don't get caught up in giving anything. Some people ain't gonna hear me. Anything more power than you. Even the oh so mighty moon, the oh so grand sun, the earth, the universe. Don't get caught up in like giving the zodiacs, the animals, all these things, giving them more power than you. Because you know what? This idea that we are lesser than anything is a very low dimensional, low vibrational way of being. That it's false, and it comes from distortions. This whole idea of like this hierarchy, and I'm less than the sun, and I'm this little human, and I'm less than the moon. The moon is way bigger than me, and therefore like more important. I should be giving more attention or more power or more, what's it called, more credit, more credentials to the sun and the moon and these planets than my own self. That type of thinking is not organic. It is not an alignment with source consciousness. Like, think about it. It don't make sense. So don't do that. And I'm always like talking to myself. I listen to my own videos because like I don't be taking my advice, and I'm like, girl, you need to stop. This is how you know I be channeling messages. Like, this is not my messages. This is from spirit. Because I don't always listen. That's why I have to go back and like Watch my own videos. We have the devil. Destined ending, don't force, divine protection. So these are my own cards that I made with the major arcana. This is a Fawahodie. This is an African Adinkra symbol that represents the alphabet F, and it stands for freedom. So I chose those as my sign. But this is the devil card. This is the other devil card. So destined ending, don't force, divine protection. So yes, I feel like with me talking about like the idea of these planets and these planetary bodies like coming down from like these pedestals that we've put them on, and maybe you're gonna come across things like I did about the moon and like why it's not the most holy thing to be like, oh, the moon, let's, I don't know, cherish it and make it sacred and stuff. If you come across, it's just an example, things like that, they kind of dethrone the moon, it's okay. Like, let it go. Because like I said, it's beyond, this is, everything is beyond, especially anything we perceive as physical. Everything is beyond. And anyone who has ever like tapped in or like gone to that place, you know, inside with source, you know what I mean, whether it was through meditation or a near-death experience, anything, this could come anywhere. You could be walking down the street and you just can feel like the love of source. If you've ever tapped in that place, that might be different for different people, but when I've experienced like the source, like right at the middle, it's never nothing there. It's always empty. You know what I mean? There's never anything there. I guess, for example, you could do Elle from Stranger Things, when she like goes into like her mind space. It don't be shit there. It just be black and like some water. And that's because that's the universe. That's the cosmos. It's actually nothing at all. And that just goes to show you that you don't need anything to be everything. If you're catching my drift. So don't get too caught up in like, I don't know, I have to like remind myself this, like whenever I get too stressed or anything about, you know, somebody I want close to me, or like I said, these interference things coming in throughout my whole life where like every time I've tried to like be close with somebody, they get pushed away. So these things, when I get frustrated and I become fearful, because I have abandonment issues of like things being removed from me, when you tap back into source, tap back into that, in that consciousness, because then the fear of losing something goes away, because it's nothing. And then in that same sense, you also have everything. I don't know if I'm making sense. It makes sense more when I use metaphors, I think. So we have the strength card, beauty, deep health, inner compass. See, that's what I'm talking about, inner compass. And then like the infinity and like this little face I drew, it looks scary. But it's like, it's not. It's like beauty and deep strength. I used to watch this video of like this monk guy, and he used to piss me off because he used to always say like, there is nothing in the world, in the true universe. This is all nothing. It makes no sense. You know those videos with those like, those people who are like in the robes and they're just like, nothing exists. I used to be so pissed because I'm like, shit exists, okay? I'm like, I've seen it. I've had like visions where I've gone to like Mintaka. I've seen like very, very high frequency angels that are just literally blue light. Like, I'm like, I've seen other places. And I thought he was being so pessimistic, but I think actually he was being the most optimistic. And it's just the ego is in resistance to that, because the ego is false for the most part. And it is not, it's not clever. It's not as clever as the heart. The heart understands that in this space where there is nothing and nothing exists, it does not mean dismal. It does not mean dissolution. It does not mean everything has been destroyed and everybody's dead. That's not what it means. It means the opposite. It means that if everything in the cosmos exists and it can be nothing, then actually everything is there. I don't know if I'm like making sense. How do I like describe this in terms of like in terms of like a person on Earth. I'm thinking of like Legos, but I feel like Legos are like you can still see them. Okay. I got it. So you know, like a painting, right? A painting, Mona Lisa. Let's do her. If you zoom in to that painting, it will look like nothing. The further you go into like the painting, it won't be nothing there, right? You know, have you ever like seen those little pictures where they zoom in on anything? Anything you go, there's nothing there. But it doesn't mean that there's nothing there. It actually means that like there's so much that even if you go the furthest that you can go with the microscope to see and zoom as close as you can get, there's still space there for more. It actually, the concept of nothing existing tells you how much there is, that there's infinite amounts. Yes? Do you understand now? I feel like I don't even understand what I be saying. And so like, think about if that is true of a fucking painting. I don't care if it's Mona Lisa. If that's true of a painting, of some paint on a canvas, imagine you, your soul who does not die, who is infinite. You can appear in any fucking parallel reality, multiple dimensions, universes. You've been here, you've been there, you've been this, you've been that. Imagine you. If that's a painting, I think somebody just screamed or had a sneeze. Ah. But do you see what I mean? Like, imagine you. And so that's what I mean by the concept of like these planetary bodies being more powerful than you has to be dethroned, because that's not how Source thinks. There is nothing more or less than anything else. There are things that are not in alignment and things that are distorted from the truth, but not less or more in terms of like love. Okay? You know what? These look like the colors of the sun and the moon, don't they? Like the moon is like this bluish gray and the sun is like this yellow. And also the strength card is like, that's the sun. I just noticed this. The devil is the moon. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't like to give stuff too much power. I'm wondering if I should share like, I don't know, things that I've like picked up from the moon and like wonder if like people should like take it or leave it. Can you give me a sign, Spirit? I'm hearing number 5. 5. I don't see the number 5. Can you give me like a insect or bird? If yes, if I should share. Okay. No. Moving on. So I have here written, which one should I talk about first? Should I go back to this one? So I have here written The Dark Prince, which is something that is like been in my life, but I'm seeing for some reason Diddy in my mind's eye when I think of that. Okay, so what I'm picking up is like the dark masculine energy. You know, I think people talk about like the dark feminine a lot. The dark feminine is basically like the part of the feminine that is like willing to kill in order to protect her children. That's how I like to think of her. Like the dark feminine is the one that's like with the boundaries, coming in, hell nah, you can't come in here. Hell no, I said yes, I said no, or I said yes. Like, you know what I mean? That's the dark feminine for me. And then the light feminine is like the one that's like very open, very motherly. I'll cook you some food. I'll rock you to sleep. And then the dark feminine comes in and she's like, but I have my limits. You know what I mean? And it's within the one, like the yin yang within the feminine. but we don't talk about, or at least I really haven't talked about, the aspect of the dark masculine. I feel like the light masculine aspect would be like the one that's like, I'm uh, I'm going to protect, the people that I love. I'm going to do right by them. I'm going to show up on time. And I feel like the dark masculine is also the one that's like, if you fuck with my family, you will die. If you trespass, I won't ask questions. It'll just be done. It's that energy, and I feel like that's important, since it's been coming up for me, like the dark masculine energy. Do I want to give an example? Do I have a good example to give? All I can think about is Risen or Reason from my favorite book, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I don't think that most people have read those. So how can I give this example? I feel like I want to do Forrest Gump. Let's use Forrest Gump, because I feel like he has a lot of like the light masculine energy, even though he obviously has like feminine energy as well. The Fool card is here with a Magician, 0-1. I feel like this is like the masculines. But anyway, Forrest Gump, he's very like loving and open, and so I feel like it is a bit of feminine energy, but I feel like it is more masculine, Forrest Gump, because he has a lot of action that he takes. He's very like action person. He's not so much like a passive creator, where I feel like that's how the feminine energy is. Like it's like more like sit back and I'm gonna create from here. But Forrest Gump, he moves around. He does a lot of action. So I would say that's like the lighter version of the masculine energy, or the light aspect of the masculine. But then you can see this darker energy of the masculine when people fuck with Jenny. When people fuck with Jenny, Forrest, he switched real quick. Like I think that guy was like kissing Jenny in the car, and like he like pulled the guy out and beat him up. Or when Jenny was like playing on the stage naked, and all the guys like started like trying to get her off the stage, throwing shit at her. He like went and like picked her up off the stage and took her off. It's like that dark masculine energy is what I would say it is. And I think the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's just as sacred as the light energy. Both need to be there. Like both masculine and feminine energies, they need to be whole within themselves. You have to have both yin and yang within each energy. And I feel like maybe the reason that I'm bringing this up is because someone here could be, could consider themselves to be a masculine person, and you might be like wondering if you have tapped into something like negative or bad, but you're in like the dark masculine energy. It's not a negative thing. It's not a thing to be associated with distortion and toxicity. It's actually very sacred, and it's very necessary. And for any other people, divine feminine otherwise, if you don't identify as like who I'm talking about, it could be with this bug that just came and clicked the window. It could be that you might have seen this, like being this dark masculine energy being displayed by someone you care about, and you're wondering if like you should be concerned, if you should be like cautious if this dark masculine energy has presented itself. And I feel like Spirit is saying no, that's not toxic masculinity, that's dark, the dark masculine, which is actually very sacred and very holy. If I guess, for example, if you think about like different indigenous cultures, like recently I watched a video of a Navajo chief explaining the symbolism of the rainbow. He was saying that he would not share the exact symbolism of the rainbow. He was like, no, I'm not sharing it. It's sacred. We do this during when the kids come of age, when they're 15 and they transition from being, boys and girls to men and women. We have a ceremony, and it does have to do with rainbow, and I won't tell you. And it's like, if there's been something like that with a masculine in your life, where they've kept something sacred, or they've presented this like this secrecy it's not them being toxic. It's them being in their dark masculine energy, which is that of the protection at all costs, protection of the sacred, of the innocent, even if it means appearing impolite, which is the same as the dark feminine energy. I just feel like the dark feminine goes about it in more, in terms of more of like I don't know, like I said, like with a slightly more passive approach, whereas I feel like the masculine would go in with a more active approach, because that's the energies. One is more material, the masculine material, action, physical things, and then the feminine energy is like the spiritual, passive one. But they're just as intense. Don't let your ego be making you think that they ain't just as strong. Okay, I feel like now we should get into some oracle cards and shit, like let shit come out. I might also get into something else, but I feel like I need to go kind of light or something. I don't know. I just feel like I need to like move. So give me a second. Which one? Okay. I'm back. My stomach always be showing in these videos. I don't know. I just think that's funny. I think I needed to go get this Cali Oracle deck. I feel like there needs to be like a conversation between these energies. I'm gonna do a conversation, I think, between the masculine and feminine energy. I almost wonder though if these cards are too powerful to match up with these. Maybe I need to go get the Starseed Oracle deck because I feel like they're super powerful. Or maybe I could do a conversation with just this deck, because this is like this deck has both masculine and feminine in it. We'll just stick with these. I don't want to overthink. One of the things that did come to my mind earlier though was this quote, because I was trying to describe how I felt about like other people, because I was like, I'm a Leo, and so I think Leo are like notorious for jealousy. I do have my jealous moments, but I was trying to think of like a way to describe it, because it's like I'm not jealous of other people and like the fact that they get to have like certain relationships, because I don't want their relationships. I don't envy them, but there is something there. And the quote that came to my mind was like, I'm not jealous of their song. I'm jealous of their guitar strings. I'm jealous of the fact that they get to play. Like I wanna be able to play as well. And I feel like there too like comes in like this element of like being deprived, being kind of starved, and like, you know, put in these conditions again with, like I was saying at the beginning, put into these conditions with the hope that you will lose hope, with the hope that you will become hopeless. Like I'm seeing in my mind like this being who can't be killed. Like you can't kill them, and you can't like starve them to death because they're like immortal, like they'll just keep living. But if you don't give them food, if you isolate them, like it doesn't matter that they can live forever physically, because they'll be crushed, like their spirit will be crushed. And I feel like for people who are watching this and you're resonating with what I'm saying, like this might be what's like happened to you, like Edward Cullen, you know, and how he felt, you know, Twilight, where like his brothers and sisters, they were able to like pair up, and like for some reason like he never could pair up, like he always was just alone. And I do remember, I think he like starved himself at some point. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you keep going, but like, are you really there? and it's like you not being able to play a song or to have these certain interactions with people can be, it's very unnatural. I know I'm all over the place, but Ramona like described it as like she was talking about like sexual intimacy, and how that's something that's very sacred. This is for all the adults. All my videos are for adults, by the way. I don't make any videos for children. But yeah, she was saying that it's very important, like lots of like sacredness there. And if you are constantly isolated, or you're not able to ever like have that type of intimacy with someone, it's shutting off something that is supposed to be like natural to you and naturally fulfilled, and it's like you lack that. I'm seeing this like reflection in the window, and it's of my light. Yeah, it's orange, like the sacral chakra. That's coming up. So yeah, we're gonna do like a conversation between the divine masculine and feminine. You can kind of see the cards, huh? So maybe if I like sit them here, you'll be able to see. Oof, I always get so many things. I always get so many messages. I kind of want to ask about the dinosaurs. Like, why the fuck was I interested in dinosaurs? But for now, my throat is kind of getting like, I'm so sorry for the camera shaking, but it's just gonna have to shake while I set this up. I don't know, this table that I'm using, it don't have like no edge to like grip the clamp of my phone holder. Like there's like a clamp thing on there. It's like it doesn't fit. Like there's no grip on the edge. This is a weird table. Oh, this one. I'm gonna get this one and this one. This one? Yes. Yes. No. What's the other one for the masculine then? Holy shit. Kamala. Can you see the cards? Yeah. Kamala Devi. I don't think it's a coincidence that the vice president, I can't speak. The vice president's name is Kamala. Or Kamala. I never know how to pronounce that woman's name. I always feel so bad. But yeah, I got this deck like during the time that she's the vice president. Whew. I just got hot suddenly. Holy shit. What does it say? Aw, thank you for subscribing. Does R still want to be with me? Tiger princess, tiger person? I don't know what that say. Tiger. I actually been seeing that word like tiger, tigress a lot. So R makes me think of Rihanna, and I feel like this person, whoever it is, has like more of a eccentric spirit like Rihanna does. And I would say that it took Rihanna forever to settle down, especially in terms of like how fast she lives life. So I feel like she lives life. I think she lived like so many lives in her short time, because even though I feel like she settled down like in her mid-30s, or is she in her 40s? Is she in her 40s? I think she's like right at like 40, Rihanna. But yeah, I feel like that's your answer, Tiger. Like this person might require a lot of time before they settle down. But if not, who knows? This is not a personal reading. But Tiger has been coming up a lot. I saw that word today, I think, somewhere. But the tiger always reminds me of that movie, The Life of Pi. I know it was a book, but I ain't read that book. It's too long, I feel like, and it's sad. But I watched the movie. In The Life of Pi, there was like him fighting on that boat with the tiger, and like I've seen clips of like how they shot that scene, and there was a real tiger, but it was two separate scenes. So the scenes where the boy is like on the boat with the tiger, it's just him by himself, like playing tug of war with I think someone in a green screen costume. And so it's like you're just fighting with yourself. Like the tiger's real, but it's not the tiger that you're fighting with. It's yourself. So it's like if you've been having trouble with someone or anything, an issue or something that's been bothering you, it's not the thing itself that's bothering you. It's your perception of yourself that's bothering you, that's being like triggered by this person. So we have here, I feel like this is going to be the card for the Divine Feminine. This deck is by Alana Fairchild. Her decks are like the shit. I always love her oracle decks. The only thing is like, I wish this was a person of color. I think Alana Fairchild is a white woman. But that's it. Anything, which there's nothing wrong with, but I just prefer to you know, buy shit from people of color. Guna, look at me, I'm so black. Guna. I think it's Guna Tantrika. This is for the masculine energy. So I feel like the Divine Feminine is saying like, I want to give you this gift of like, of my heart, of like who I am. Like that's all I want. It's like to give you the purest part of myself. And it's like, I don't know, it's like you won't take it, or you take it and you take it for granted. I don't know if anybody has seen that movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence. It's like nobody ever seen that movie, and I'm like, that movie is so fucking good. That movie is good as fuck. It's a tale of Cain and Abel. Ugh. The tale of Cain and Abel and like the earth, and like she's like Mother Earth. But anyways, it starts off, you see like this heart in the beginning of the movie, like this little heart, and it starts beating. And as it beats, like the whole house just comes alive. And then at the end you find out like that it's a cycle that happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the whole thing. So basically, like, there's this man and woman in a house, and they're a couple. And the woman, after like the house comes back alive, she wakes up on the bed as Jennifer Lawrence, and she's just like, I want to make the house be as beautiful as possible. I want to do all the renovations. And so she's painting, and she's picking out drapes for the house, and like fixing the windows and the doors and stuff, and like I think asking the man to help. I don't think he has a name, because he's God. Like he represents God, and then Jennifer's character represents like Earth, Mother Earth. But then like God, or I guess you could also call him, no, I think he's God. So anyways, these people come to the house and they're like, hey, we need help. And of course, Jennifer Lawrence is like, fuck no, don't let these people in. They look fucking crazy. One of the people is Michelle Pfeiffer. And God is like, let them in. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And eventually, like, God is writing this book, which, guess what book it is? It's the Bible. And it's like, he has like this huge fan base. So all these fucking people like come to the house to like get his autograph. And God is like, yeah, come on in. And by this point, Jennifer's character, the mother, she's pregnant. And she's like having to give birth with a million fucking people in the house. And of course, they find out that she's giving birth. And they're like, oh my God, it's like God's son. And so they go and they kill the baby. They take him. They want all his parts. They take him. By the end of it, Jennifer's like, I've had a fucking enough. And so she gets on a table. I think she like burns the house down. She gets on a table and she's just like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And I think at the end, like God like asked her for one more thing, and she's like, here, you can have my heart. Like just take my heart. And that heart is what restarts the whole thing. Like it starts the house. And that was a lot, but I feel like that's what the feminine has been saying, like is saying with this card. I give you my heart. I gave you the most sacred part of me as a gift, and you take it for granted. You don't see the value in it, and you constantly like need this kind of like you need this validation from outside people, even though I've given you like all the validation in the world. That's the energy of this card. I think I'm gonna read the messages from these, but first I'm gonna just interpret. Okay, so the divine masculine energy, number 5, which I feel like I just kept saying. Guna, Tantrika. It looks like three things. So it goes back into what I was saying earlier about the 3 body problem show. Looks like here something has broken out. Like it was a whole planet or moon, whatever the fuck, and like something either hit it and then it fell apart, or like something escaped from it. Like something was taken. You know what's interesting about one of the theories about the Earth's moon is that this is what I remember. I haven't like looked up like proof of this recently, but this is all just shit I remember from like 8th grade science class. By the way, but basically I remember like one of the theories for the moon was that the Earth was like not like alive, I think. Like it didn't have like life on it, if I'm not mistaken. And then this big ass like moon thing came and like hit the Earth, and that's what like tilted it, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's what tilted it to the 23.5 on the axis. And then because after it hit Earth and it was a smaller object, it stayed stuck in the gravitational pull of Earth and just stayed there. And they were saying that that's why Earth has like pieces of like the same material as the moon on it. So it's like, that's what I'm seeing like with this card of like, as like it was hit and the pieces of it fell apart and it stayed stuck somewhere else. And it's like, it's not whole anymore. And so I feel like the divine masculine energy is saying like, I'm not whole. Like something was taken from me and I don't know how to get it back. I don't know what was missing, you know? It's like this, it's this feeling of like being orphaned or being lost. And so it's like, how can I receive your gift if I don't have a home to place it in? And you know what I'm picking up, it's several things. I'm picking up that movie Lion, which by the way, that same actor, I don't know why I don't remember his name, but he just had his directorial debut with the movie Monkey Man, which is now available to watch on Peacock, which is another animal. So I'm getting that guy from Lion, but I'm also getting like Black Men, because this is what I know, where the family dynamic was intentionally like very fucked with. This has happened for everybody cross-culturally, but like I said, I'm Black, so this is what I know, so that's what I'm gonna talk about. The Black men, man, like super duper fucked with. And that's kind of what I was going into earlier about Africa and how I can tell there has been so much done there in all of the countries, to distort, to hide as much as possible, to get away from the truth of what is there. But basically, we know the thing, you know, the transatlantic slave trade with all the displacement, you know, and it's this feeling of like the Black father, he was supposed to be the one of like the house, the home, like build the home and protect the home and provide for the home. This is all very traditional, so just like take what I'm saying very loosely. This is just an example. It's not literal. It's not my beliefs that it should be this dynamic. It's just an example. But yeah, they're supposed to be like the ones bringing in the meals, right? But then like, what happens when you take away their home and you take away their ability to provide for their families, and then you dehumanize them and you beat them in front of the people that they're supposed to be protecting? And it's like, who am I? You know, who am I? What do I have? You know? And so what I'm getting from like the movie Lion, which I'm pretty sure is based in India. Yeah, just like this card deck. The movie Lion, basically what happens is he is this little boy. I forget how exactly it happens, but basically he ends up on this train, and the train takes him to like a different city, a different region of the same country. I could be wrong, but it's basically, it's a different region, it's a different area, and they don't speak the same language as where he comes from. Sorry, the camera's shaking. Like, please stop. Thank you. He's in a different region, and so they can't understand him, and I think he like ends up being adopted by these white people, and it's like he doesn't know how to get back to his home. He doesn't know how to get back to his mother because he was so young, and he didn't know the language of like where he was. It's just like he was completely removed from his roots. And so it's like, how can you grow if you don't have the roots? You know what I mean? How can you grow the flower if you don't have the pot? And it's like the feminine can give you the seed, you know, all day long, or the plant or the baby or the child all day long. But if you don't have anything to put it in, you're just like lost. It's this feeling of like being lost. And I just remember like at the end of the movie, he ends up going back to his original home, and he does meet his mom. He finds his mom, but he can't understand her anymore because he's forgotten the language. And there's something there with that. I don't know. I want to say this. I don't know why it's important, but I think it is somehow. But one of the things I think people don't consider about like the transatlantic slave trade, if people consider that, I feel like not many people besides like professors and like people who are like, I don't know, interested still in these things. I feel like one of the things people forget about, because you just assume because of all the propaganda and shit, that all the people in Africa speak the same fucking language. Because a lot of people, first of all, they think Africa is a country, and so they think that everybody just, they come from the same fucking cultures and they speak the same languages and they do the same thing. No, these were people that they were kidnapped from multiple different places. And so you're on a boat. It's like, how can you, it's that much more difficult to rise up against people who've kidnapped you if you can't work together with the people around you because you don't speak the same fucking languages. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm feeling here. Like there's like this frustration with not being able to communicate, and this frustration with not being understood, not being able to speak to each other. But yes, that's something. People in Africa don't speak the same language. There are many different languages, many different cultures, especially I would say before all the colonization happened. Like it's been so much, it's been so fucked with. But I feel like there's more to the story, so we will continue with more. Okay. Kia might be somebody's name. That one there. I don't want to. Is this one for this one? Shodisha. That's not what it says. It says Shodashi. I think it's time for me to read this. Yes, mother. It's with an exclamation point at the end. Like a yell. Mother with the exclamation point. I think I've seen that movie like 3 times. I had to look it up because you won't realize that it's a, well, at least I didn't. I didn't realize it was a story of Cain and Abel. Is it? Yeah, Cain and Abel's there. And like I said, the story of like Mother Earth and like God or the baby Jesus. Like it's all there in like this very interesting way that they've put it into. And if you think about it, you know, a lot of people like this, I've said this before, but I got the message like a long time ago, probably like 2 or 3 years ago from Spirit, that Spirit was saying that the beginning story of like what happened it's played out every single day. Like what happened to like the fall from like how Earth was Like the story of that is played out every single day. Like we act it out, this same story over and over with just different characters. We use different scripts, we wear different clothes, but it's the same fucking events over and over and over again. And that's why with this tree like moving out of the way and like the sun coming in a little bit, it's that's what I'm saying about the evolution that I was talking about at the beginning. Like it's gonna be a return, but it's not gonna be the same as it was before. Anyways, so Kalika Tantrika for the Divine Feminine. And then Kali Yantra for the Divine Masculine. I think here's where I'll read because I'm becoming a bit drained from having to channel all these messages. It's a lot. If you would like to support me further, you can donate. I have a link in my descriptions. It's not there now, but it'll be there later. But yes, this takes a lot of energy. Where the book at? But of course, you don't have to. Whew. I was like, I keep getting like hot. Like with, now that I'm channeling like the two energies, it's like this heat. I feel hot. I'm trying to figure out like, what is that? Like why I feel hot. I just heard dragons. Dragons. Wow. So I feel like something I want to say about the dragons, because I touched on them at the beginning, but I didn't really go too much into it. I just said like the dragons have returned, House of Dragons, yada, yada, yada. The thing about the dragon energy is that you can't control it because it's like, it's the most, it's like it's removed from like the low level thinking, I would say, of humans. They don't have this fear of consequences, but they also don't have like these egos to feed. And so they just do as they wish. Like, I don't know, you can think about like dogs and cats. Like my dog, like whenever he wanted like, I don't know, anything, chicken, he would go and like tap his food bowl. He doesn't like think self-consciously like, what if they don't have any chicken? Or like, what if it's not polite? Or what if I just had some chicken and they're gonna think I'm greedy? He don't give a fuck. He's like, I want some, I'm gonna go ask. It's like it's quick. And this is what I was talking about in my last pick a pile. Like this energy came up of like, you can't help it. And that's really the embodiment of your higher self. Because when I talk about dragons, I'm talking about like the high dimensional, high frequency dragons, the most pure form of like dragon energy is what I'm talking about. And if they are around, I don't know, I just feel like that's when like shit starts to happen. Like things happen because they don't care like so much about like being in accordance with like social rules, social niceties. Okay, 35. All right, please listen. I feel like such a teacher. Oh my God. I am a teacher, by the way, so that's where my tendencies come from. Our wild mother goddess overcomes duality, resting in the sweet spot of integration, healing, and creation. She facilitates the overcoming of tension and conflict, birthing sacred solutions and evolution. I can't believe this shit say evolution. Oh my God. Birthing sacred solutions and evolution into greater bliss. Kalika Tantrika is Kali, the tantric queen. She overcomes all karma, realigns pathways when we have veered off course, reverses the momentum of negative uses of free will. I talked about the Black Magicians at the fucking beginning of this read. I can't believe it. Wow! I'll read it again. She overcomes all karma, realigns pathways when we have veered off course, reverses the momentum of negative uses of free will, detaches draining energy cords and restores us to full vitality, Her presence announces significant change and positive improvement in all aspects of your life, especially your spiritual life. I feel so happy because I'm like, I was on point with my channel messages. The Tantra of Kali is the teaching of the immanence of the goddess. Her appearance in a reading indicates a time when the feminine principle must be in the dominant position. Look at this. Dominating. This is not a declaration that the feminine is superior. It is equal to the masculine, yet different. Just like I was saying earlier, like especially about evolution, where it's like it's a same evolution, but it's different. It's not the same pattern. Anyways, I'm gonna continue. It is a recognition that the feminine is the holding and birthing energy. To shift from one way, paradigm, or political structure, the feminine must lead. As Kali, she disrupts negative power structures and holds the space for something completely new to emerge from the rubble. The simplest way to describe the immanence of the goddess is that it's the deep respect for intuitive knowing and action taken on the non-rational, yet deeply insightful instincts of the heart. This is not about being emotionally reactive. There are multiple expressions of this sacred tantric inversion, placing the sacred feminine in the leadership position and deconstructing patriarchy. We practice it when we listen to our intuition with our complete courage, rather than going against our inner knowing for the sake of logic. Another is reversing the flow of what has been generated. This may mean halting a path you wanted to travel, but now have come to realize is not honoring of your heart. It could be a breaking down of what has been established because it has become too restrictive and needs to be rebuilt in a new way, or perhaps released altogether. Remember that which appealed to the caterpillar is not going to tempt the butterfly. As the soul evolves, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is the exact wording. As the soul evolves, our needs and desires often undergo a profound transformation too. Tantric teachings resonate less with clean, tidy, and methodical approaches, and more with the wild, spontaneous, shamanic energies innately turned to and responsive to life. The primal force of the feminine is moving you along with your soul energy at present. To tune into that primal power requires loosening the mental grip over your life. Allow for more space, more flexibility in your schedule. If your schedule is too tightly wound that every minute is accounted for, set the intention to slacken the reins. The feminine needs freedom. She cannot be crammed into minimal spaces and expected to thrive. If you try to control her, she will rebel, and when she is Kali, her rebellions topple kingdoms. It is possible to heal and transform even radically without evoking her wrathful nature, if you are open to her guiding presence. Her wrath is love, so we need not fear it. But it can certainly be a welcome change of pace for powerful shifts to be able to happen with grace and ease. When Kali Tantric arises in your reading, you are encouraged to listen to your gut and allow for wisdom to emerge. Act according to instinct. This is the dragon energy I was just talking about. Like that instinctual energy. I was just saying this. Act according to instinct and let go of methods that do not resonate with your heart, even if your mind tells you that not following those methods will lead to failure. The Tantra of Kali is the practice of unconditional trust in the feminine. Her ways are unpredictable, apparently ever-changing, and when she manifests as Kali, if you try to pin her down and control her, she's likely to lop off the offending appendage. Ooh, my stomach. Instead, we submit to her, entering into the black void of possibilities and not knowing, with the realization that even when we don't know what is going on, the divine feminine does. If we willingly open to her sacred knowledge rather than try to impose our will and logic and desire upon her, she will show us what is going to work best. This is a time when the heart knowing must lead above the intellectual assessments of things. I said this. My ego was like, oh, I'm so happy. It also it is also when we are best moved by a greater guiding intelligence rather than doggedly sticking to a plan and trying to assert ourselves. The feminine is not as direct in her approach as the masculine. Listen to this. Listen to this. Her seeds germinate in darkness. Didn't I say earlier about the feminine giving seeds to the masculine? I said that, and I was like, wait, isn't it the opposite way? Like, isn't the masculine the one that gives the seeds? But no, I said seeds are given by the feminine. All right, again. Her seeds germinate in darkness. Her creative methods are not always seen, yet are powerful. The oracle brings encouragement that even though it seems like your will is being thwarted, or you are not getting what you want right now, or you just wish you could have clarity and know your direction, you are still making progress. Things are coming together in the best way, and something is growing that is aligned with the divine plan you were born to fulfill. You are encouraged to restore your inner energies and move when you feel inspired rather than thrusting forward in an attempt to make progress. The goddess knows what she is doing. Her actions will benefit you and all beings profoundly. Allow her to have her way. Bada bing. I'm like, I just said all this about the dragons. Oh, I feel a bit dizzy. I don't even know what's going on with my hair. I just be like, letting it be. It needs to be washed. I'm about to read the what's it called, the masculine one. Just give me a second. I think I need to go get some more water. Give me a moment. Oh. I'm out of water. I had to get some lemonade. Oh. Okay, watch. Lemonade, I feel like it's gonna have some, it's 303. Lemonade is like lemons. Lemons are really good for like bloating. So that's like the sacral chakra area again, but it's also like the solar plexus chakra, which is all about like self-empowerment and like knowing oneself, standing up for oneself, which if you think about it, I feel like Beyonce is so fucking clever because like Lemonade. Oh my God, like Lemonade, it was like about like self-empowerment and like standing up for herself. Wow. And then you always just think about like the quote her grandma says in there where she's like, life gave me lemons, but I made lemonade. And I feel like that's going to be the vibe of like the masculine card, which is the number 12. What's the number 12 in a tarot? Who knows? The number 12 card, is it the Hangman? Wow. And then like the Hanged Man, like that. I know it's not the same in tarot because it's like hanging by the foot, but that's also something if you know about Strange Fruit by what's her name? Billie Holiday. Strange Fruit. Does anybody know? It's a song about people being lynched in the South, which is also again Black people. So there's a lot of that here, like the specifically like men. I always say the energies of like the masculine and feminine, their energies, because they exist within all of us. But I think for today's reading, this one is specifically talking about men, people who identify as men for the masculine energy, and specifically like men of color. Let's continue. Oof, the book closed. Did you see that? That was so interesting. It closed. Why did you close? Ooh. Kali Yantra. She is your inner power. This shaking camera. Please stop. She is your inner power to evoke a positive shift in your circumstances. If anything required for success be lacking, the Divine Mother shall provide it, bringing the divine between you and the manifestation of your intentions. You are crossing a critical spiritual threshold. She is the true guardian and guide. Stay focused on what matters to your heart, and you shall remain faithfully connected to her protective presence within. Excuse me. Allow distractions to fall away, and to continue to commit to your soul journey. A more beautiful experience of your life path awaits you. So I feel like this one is like the divine feminine, like knocking, like knock, knock, knock. Hello, hello, masculine. This upside down triangle in the middle, I don't know what it means on this card because I'm not that very knowledgeable about Indian culture. However, I do think this is more like a specific religion. But either way, I'm not knowledgeable enough. But I do know the triangles mean like the different elements. Like one of them means earth, fire, water, air. What's the one that's upside down? I'll look that up later. Like the upside down triangle. Is that fire? Anyways. A yantra is a sacred geometric representation of a particular reality of a specific divine being. Here, it symbolizes an actual entry point of the sacred realm, the inner world, the universe of Kali. In gazing at a yantra, allowing our mind to settle and focus upon it, the soul can turn the subtle inner key that opens the gateway to merging with the divine. It is a visual trigger that opens the inner doors of higher perception and mystical reconnection to our divine nature. Opens. Contemplating a yantra is a method for mystical meditation, the meditation that brings the heart into unity with the higher consciousness of Kali within. That's what I was saying earlier about like the masculine like wanting validation from like outside, and it's like the world is set up so you won't get that, especially if you have like a divine counterpart that's a feminine. Like it'll either like make sure you never get like the outside validation, or it'll give it to you only if you neglect your divine feminine, if you push her away. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a person who is a divine feminine. This could be just your own divine feminine energy. Like the way that the world is set up, the matrix for divine masculine people, it's like they train you to get your validation from the outside, and then you spend all your time trying to get it and never do, and you ignore your divine feminine. Or either you get it as a reward for ignoring your divine feminine, that validation from the outside. You see it in a lot of movies and stuff, like the Jim Carrey movie where it's like is it Yes Man or something like that? The Yes movie where he like can't lie, and you see it in like the movie 1,000 Words with Eddie Murphy, where he's like chasing something, and then it's not until like he gives it up, like he gives up that external validation, that he like gains his connection back with his daughter, who's played by Yara Shahidi, who is, I don't know, is she Pakistani or Indian? She's half something. She's black, and I think her dad is, I don't know enough stuff, but this is from her culture for sure. Like these cards, nothing is a coincidence. And in 1,000 Words, I think there's like a tree, and like every word he says, like a leaf falls off the tree. So that's like the throat chakra, like being restricted. Anyways, as we activate the yantra within our beings and connect with the divine energy it offers, the enlightened body of the deity constellates itself through us. The clearer we are within ourselves and the more connected we become with the deity, the stronger and the multi-level, multidimensional, multi-directional Malanda of grace shines forth through us for the spiritual benefit of all beings. In a reading, this signifies that Kali is already working with you. The Kali Yantra in particular is a signifier of the downward flow of grace. It is oriented to the material world and all matters related. It is the cosmic trip switch for spiritual energy to be attracted toward earth. It unveils a divine luminosity beneath appearances, and when needed, heals and transforms material reality to align with higher divine will. Do you hear that? I'll read it again. It unveils a divine luminosity beneath appearances, and when needed, heals and transforms material reality to align with divine will. That's the divine masculine. The yantra of Kali is alchemical and reconstructive. The healing that can emerge through it is unrestricted because she is spacious. Vastness of primordial, I think I said it right the first time. Primordial, that's the word, being. She is the birth of all phenomena, which permeates all phenomena and can transform it according to her divine will. In a reading, this indicates a transformation of a physical concern so it aligns with the spiritual will of the universe. You know what's interesting is this book is saying like the divine masculine like can transform in the energy of the feminine because she is spacious. And then this one was saying like to become spacious. Like it was saying the divine feminine needs her freedom. I remember that was said in the divine feminine's card. Like she needs her freedom. She needs to be spacious. Don't try to restrict her. And then this one is saying the divine masculine can heal in that space. So if you identify, as either of these specifically, but like I said, we all have both energies within us. Like it's saying like the divine feminine needs to back up, back off, and become like more free. And in that space where she's like in her freedom, that's when the masculine can heal like in that energy. And this is within yourself. This doesn't necessarily have to be another person, but it does work, I believe, for both since it's energy. The downward facing, it's going to tell me. The downward facing triangular formations in the center of the yantra symbolizes the regenerative power of the divine feminine. Oh my God. And it's saying like, the card was saying like the masculine needs to like focus on this. Remember at the beginning it was like, focus and look at this to meditate. And it's like, if this symbol represents the divine feminine, it's like, look at the divine feminine to like show you the way. Which I've had such annoyance with because it comes up a lot in like twin flame readings. It's like divine feminine, like you should like start loving yourself and doing this, and then the masculine will follow you. And I'm like, why the fuck why do I have to do this stuff? Like why can't he do it and I follow him? Like why does it have to be me? I don't know, but this is just energies. Like I'm saying, I'm just being messy. I'm just being like, I don't know, annoying. But this is basically what it's saying. It's like the masculine has to follow the divine feminine's lead, okay? And this is energetic. This is not about people, okay? You only have to look at how our Earth Mother recovers after fire, flood, and famine to recognize the wisdom, power of the divine feminine to renew and restore even after tremendous destruction. I said this earlier about the starvation and being like isolated, and I said specifically this happens to the divine feminine. I said this. I'm gonna read it again. All from the beginning. The downward facing triangular formations in the center of the yantra symbolizes the regenerative power of the divine feminine. You only have to look at how Earth Mother recovers after fire, flood, and famine to recognize the wisdom, power of the divine feminine to renew and restore even after tremendous destruction. The color red is the blood red of life force, Kali's preferred fuel for destruction and rebirth. This is fucking crazy. This is crazy. Like what? I just finished watching Sweet Tooth season 3. If you've watched that show, then you know that this is, oh my gosh. Gray represents the liminal realms, neither the black of night nor the brightness of day, but the place in between. Many cultures recognize this as the medial realm, a place where magic is most potent. Oh my God, didn't I say this earlier? Well, like if you like zoom in to something, there's like space in between and there's nothing there, and like that's where source is. Didn't I say that earlier? I said that. Oh my gosh. At the beginning, when I was saying, like, I was like, I hope people understand what I'm trying to say. Where there's like nothing there, that's like where everything is. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna read it again. Gray represents the liminal realms, neither the black of night nor the brightness of day, but the place between. Many cultures recognize this as the medial realm, a place where magic is most potent. Although Kali is associated with waning moon cycles and darkest night, she is also a medial goddess, a soul doula, a birth and death mother, safely guiding us through the transitions and thresholds of our inner and outer lives. In a reading, this indicates that there is power in feeling as though you no longer belong to the past, nor are anchored fully in a new way. Oh! This makes me so happy. This is why I like doing like channel messages and shit. Like, it's like, what? Wow. This is the evolution I was talking about. Kali will manifest her will in the spaces of an unknowing, molding and guiding you from within, so your path will be fulfilling to your heart. The subtle channels of energy unlocked through intentional engagement with yantras are further empowered through the placement of hands in a particular posture called the mudra, or mudra, this posture. The Kali Mudra is created by interlocking your fingers and placing the left thumb over the right, with the index fingers together and extended to an upward pointing position. The energy channels of the body are more readily permeated with Kali's essence of fearlessness and strength through assuming this posture. The strong, direct nature of the mudra with the left thumb on top generates clarity of action from feminine wisdom and receptivity, rather than masculine logic and will to direct. Let your instincts, rather than your logic, lead you forward at this time. In connecting with the yantra amplified by the mudra, we are powerfully invoking Kali on a human level that empowers us to use physical, emotional, and psychological obstacles and pain to broker our transformation. As you become increasingly attuned to the feeling and sensation of Kali's presence, you will be able to sense her power coursing through your subtle body as you assume the mudra and view the yantra with conscious interaction to connect with her. If you have been feeling weak or vulnerable, remember that you are a powerful divine being. You do not need to act from fear. Instead, trust the inner guidance of the heart as to how and when to act. Finally, this oracle is a notice of supreme protection. If you suspect that you have been subject to negative energy work or projections from others, that you are being blocked or sabotaged intentionally or otherwise, the oracle of Kali Yantra is the medicine of clearing and protection that shall nullify the effect. There is no need to dwell upon negative workings of power, nor be intimidated by worldly authority. Place your faith in the ultimate power of the divine. I think it's interesting that I said face. Face is how you are identified. So it's almost like give your identity over to source and they'll protect you. I'm going to read the invocation ritual because I feel called to. Begin by propping up the oracle card so you can see it easily. While your hands are free to create the mudra, when you are ready, say this prayer. Ma Kali, bless, protect, and heal me with your wisdom and enlightened activity for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Repeat this, her mantra 8 times. You don't have to, but I'm going to say it because I feel it's important. Krim Kali Kaya Nam Aha. Krim Kali Kaya Nam Aha. Focus on the image of the yantra and the mudra, then close your eyes and allow for Kali's energy and blessings to fill you. Breathe out, relax, let it pour down, and then expand outward through all aspects of your being. I don't know why I said beings. What did I want to say? I had something I want to say that I forgot. I remember now. It's like I was saying, it's like masculine people, they get trained to like seek outside validation from a very young age. Like the outside, they tell you it will like get you like the feeling that you need if you keep chasing it. And then they tell masculine people like to deny their heart, like deny it, don't feel it. A lot of feminine people get taught this as well, but it's even more so for masculine people. And it's like the heart, that's actually where it is. Like that's the key to everything. It's the opposite. But I will say the movie Monkey Man, it's on Peacock, with the same actor from Lion. He's the main character, main actor in both movies, but he also directs the Monkey Man movie. There are a lot of not a lot, but there's this group of trans women in that Monkey Man movie, and they are like cast out by society, but they're the ones like who know how to heal. Like they have this place where they live, and it's very healing. Like they have all these things that they do that can help people and heal people, but it's like I said, like society like pushes them away and ignores them. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the feminine energy, where it's like she's ignored, she's turned away, and it's like, no, I can do this on my own. But then like that's the answer, and it's what the man from the Navajo tribe was saying. The little that he did expose about the rainbow was that the rainbow symbolizes the fact that you can't win without the other. There has to be two. You can't create anything without the two things. And it's true. You need both the masculine and the feminine energy. One can't thrive without the other. And again, this isn't to say that this necessitates another person to be helping you out. It's just energy. This is energy, which we all have both within us. Okay? Check my notes. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. Yes, tomorrow is Juneteenth. And for those who don't know, Juneteenth is the day that a lot of people consider to be the true Independence Day of in the United States, because it's the day where enslaved people were like officially like released. I think in Texas, in Texas, and so like that's like when all people were free. Which I don't really like those words because it's not really accurate, but I think that's why so much came up in this reading about black men, is because Juneteenth is tomorrow. What do I want to say about that? Like to close this up, Spirit, what would you like to say? I'm hearing, don't forget that the root is where it all started. And so there too is where it all must end. Okay, that's the last message I got. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Sending you all so much love. Ama Ikana Saraki. I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.